It's not very likely that Max Pacioretty will return to the Hurricanes, but I don't think it's totally out of the question yet, and I'm going to elaborate on as to why. So at the end of the 2022 season, when the Hurricanes were eliminated at the hands of the New York Rangers in Game 7 at home, it couldn't really be denied anymore that the goal scoring was an issue, and it was pretty much unanimously agreed on that it was. In response to this, Don Waddell made a trade with the Vegas Golden Knights that brought Max Pacioretty to the Hurricanes. Unfortunately, prior to the start of training camp, his injury history would have another addition with a torn Achilles. However, Max Pacioretty did make a debut with the Hurricanes in a home game on January 5th of 2023 against the Nashville Predators. In a 5-game stint, he recorded 3 goals with the Hurricanes. Unfortunately, after only 5 games, his Achilles would tear again, ending his season. So the Hurricanes sent him to Finland to get his Achilles repaired again, and now his future in the NHL has some question marks around it. So the reason I think it's unlikely that Max Pacioretty will stay with the Hurricanes is because this year's UFA market leaves a lot to be desired. And there are teams out there that will probably be willing to pay Max Pacioretty more than the Hurricanes would, and would also be willing to offer more term. However, the Hurricanes are still a cup contender, and Max Pacioretty could be an essential piece to getting over that last hump, to being able to win in the conference finals and then ultimately go to the end and win it all. So, what could a contract for Max Pacioretty look like if the Hurricanes do manage to retain him? What would they be willing to sign him at? And what would be a low-risk, high-reward type of contract that you could give him? So if you could get Patches to take a team-friendly deal, you're looking at something along the lines of $2 million for 1 season. The reason why I reference this is another player who unfortunately didn't work out in Carolina because of concussion issues, Ondrej Kase. Ondrej Kase was brought in prior to the 2022-2023 season to add some depth scoring to the Hurricanes, but unfortunately his concussion history caught up with him. He only played 1 game with the club and is likely not going to play in the NHL again. So potentially you could bring Max Pacioretty back to the Hurricanes if he wants to, on a similar deal to play a similar role of what they wanted Kase to do. So with the small sample size that we got of Max Pacioretty, in the 5 games that he played, he scored 3 goals. Simple math there, that comes out to 0.6 goals per game. And there were 44 games remaining when he made his debut, so at that pace, he would have been a 27-goal scorer despite missing the first 28 games of the season. Even if he hadn't maintained that pace, he still would have had 20 despite having a limited amount of appearances if he'd stayed healthy all the way to the end. And he definitely would have been helpful in the playoffs, especially in the series against Florida, for Carolina to sweep the series themselves or at least extend it and give the Hurricanes a fighting chance. So if you could bring him back on a team-friendly deal, considering he would be playing with a contender and he'd get a shot at having a Stanley Cup still, which he hasn't got one yet. You're looking at someone who could still be a 25, maybe even a 30-goal scorer, even on a reduced role, even if he's just out there for the power play, and even if he's just playing on the 3rd or 4th line. So there is some risk to bringing back Max Pacioretty. You're looking at having the exact same situation that you had last season. It could be his Achilles, or it could be a completely different injury. And I can personally say, until I saw him play, I forgot how much of a cannon that this guy had. Even when he misses the net entirely, his shot just looks intimidating. So, like I mentioned before, I think that this is unlikely. But if you can appeal to the fact that Carolina's still a contender and he'd have a good shot at getting a cup, he might stay and he might take that team-friendly deal. And while it would maybe mitigate how many offseason moves the Hurricanes would have to make, they're still going to have to make a splash in the trade market probably to add the rest of that scoring and add that extra size and that extra sandpaper that Don Waddell was saying that the team needs. So, informal video tonight. That's all I've really got. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I've got some more content hopefully coming out this week. I'm going to look at some of the mock drafts and see what the general consensus is, if there really is one, about who would go 30th overall, because the later you get in the draft, the less agreement that there is. So that's going to be interesting for me to see. I'm looking forward to doing the research on that. I'll also have some videos in regards to some potential trade targets. I just haven't decided how exactly I'm going to split that up, if I'm going to just do one talking about a bunch of different individual players, or if I'm going to look at them by team, because there's teams like Winnipeg that look like they could be potentially having a fire sale. And so thank you very much for watching my video. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next time.